I like there's a sentence that says that any smart answer to any questions always starts with "it depends." So I'm pretty sure that it depends too. But you know, there are many different kinds of organizations doing microservices, and they all are successful. So I don't think there's a rule of thumb for that. But at least in our scenario, we believe that most of enterprise companies, they currently have monoliths. They don't have microservices. They have monoliths. And they want somehow to have some of the benefits of migrating to a microservice architecture. So my talk was mostly about how you have a current monolith that is delivering value into production. How can you split some parts of that apart into a microservice architecture so you can all orchestrate the things together. But always have it in mind, you have a current monolith and you want to migrate some parts of your application to a microservice architecture. Okay, the first technology to look for certainly are containers. You should be aware of what are containers, how they work. Probably you want to use some Docker. And even for development purposes, you should be taking a look at that. And when it comes to production, maybe you need something more because you just can't handle all of your production workloads using a single Docker host. You might need a cluster. So there are some available options in the market. I can say some about that. You can use Docker Swarm, Apache Mesos, or at least the Red Hat option is Kubernetes, which is a project sponsored by Google and developed jointly by Google and Red Hat. Because, you know, Google deploys about 2 billion containers per week on their production environments. So I guess that maybe Google knows a thing or two about deploying containers to production. And if Google does that, you don't have to deploy 2 billion containers in 1 week, but you can deploy your 10, 20, 50, 100 containers into your own environments. There are some deployment scenarios where people just, the company just don't have a policy about that. You can use any kind of language. So we have some popular frameworks. I can say that Spring Boot and Wildflower Swarm and in the Java space, and particularly Node.js is particularly popular in the microservices world. But you can choose anything, but some companies like Netflix, they decided to standardize on top of the JVM and use their very popular Netflix OSS stack because you have a tight tool for some concepts of distributed systems. So it's very useful for you to reuse some current libraries. So I don't know, maybe for many enterprise companies, it would be wise to stick to a single option. But I can see a clear option, a clear solution to this problem. So it's a matter of choice. Okay. Oh, I used to be an engineer, but at Red Hat my role is different. Okay, I'm a director of developer experience. So it's all about community and engaging people about microservices. So one of my roles is to create this microservice architecture. So it's I have to talk a lot about with engineers, with customers, with developers from the community. So we're trying to get the best ideas and practices, and I'm trying to aggregate and create some content about that so that we can help developers worldwide in their mission of creating better software. And I believe that in many use cases, better software means they have to adopt some microservice architecture. So it's all about helping developers. And I'm very happy about that because that's kind of the mission that I've taken for me in my life. So now that I'm Red Hat, I'm able to help developers even more because that's now my full-time job. Okay, I can see that we have many, not one particular talk, but many different, I've seen many sessions talking about microservices with different concepts. People with different companies using different architectures, some synchronous, some asynchronous, using reactive or using message-driven. So it's very interesting to see because, you know, we are in the very first years of microservices. And it's very interesting for me, and I'm pretty sure that the audience like that too, that we have many different ways of doing microservices. There's no right solution. As usual, it all depends on your context.